Hello guys, how are you? Here I am again, and for you who don't know me, my name is Rodrigo Cazuto and I like to draw with simple and cheap materials. In this channel, I have shown my apprentice illustrator journey and the steps I have taken during this period. I want to show you the final result of this drawing so that you have a sense of my style and my trace. Here is the reference and here's my version of it. In this video, I will teach you my most practical and simple way to draw faces, the steps I follow until I complete the basic parts of the draft and sketch. To start, choose a model on your Pinterest that you think you can work on. Choose a profile picture that you can see clearly the face, and of course that you are interested in practicing. Then, prepare paper and pencil or an automatic pencil. If you analyze the structure of any faces in general, you will notice that it is formed by a circle base with two main axes that will define the directions in which they are looking and the sides they are facing. The first central axis divides the face in half and separates the eyes equidistantly. The horizontal axis separates the eye and the top region from mouth and jaw region. Next, you want to start with a very light and weak sketch. Be aware that to draw a large circle on a large scale, you need to practice agility and you need to use the whole arm. You will also notice that I did several overlays without any problem until I am completely sure that it reminds me of a circle and it makes sense in my head. Then I start the base by the first central axis, and from the side edges of the circle I pull lines to make a triangle so that it serves as the base for the model's jaw. Once I finish the central axis, I go to the lateral axis with lines that represent the lateral region of the head and that delimit the region of the ears. From the middle of this oval side circle, I pull an horizontal line that divides the head into two parts. The first line would be the eye line. Then, from the base of this lateral circumference, I pull another horizontal line that represents the nose line. Next, I create another line in the middle of the jaw triangle that represents the mouth. In other words, there are three main horizontal lines, not including the fourth top line that represents the hair. In the midline of the nose, I make three circles at the intersection and join these circles through black streaks that represent the nostrils, and little by little I am redefining the outline of the nose. Next, the mouth needs to use the central axis to divide the lips into equal sides. After that, you notice that I reinforce the outline of the real face of the reference because the person does not have a jaw like that. This V, as you can see. I study the outline of the face and I try to do it as close as possible as well. And that's also very relative according to the model you are drawing. In her case, she has a semi-square face, as I could notice. From the nose top, I pull the line from the eyebrow, and the curve of the eyebrow comes from a diagonal line that comes out from the middle of the eye, so that the curve of the eyebrow is correct. And as you can see, I normally trace the eyebrow according to the models as well, so it takes a little time. To make the ear, I basically draw a letter C connecting the two horizontal lines, one from the eye and the other from the nose. Then I create a fourth horizontal line at the top of the head to define the beginning of the hair. And for the hairline, I go beyond the limits of the initial circle because our hair increases the volume of our head, so it's okay to leave the guidelines here. And I usually bring the hair behind the ears after it. After that, I went back to redo the mouth. All the accessories of the face are very relative. They will differentiate one person from the other. And what matters is that you study the reference carefully and try to reach a proximity that makes you comfortable and makes sense with the dynamics of the face, but you don't have to put yourself under too much pressure in this regard. And finally, I reinforce my outline and make everything stronger and more visible. And little by little, I erase the guidelines that were left. Basically, these are the steps I follow. I can make a more detailed video of mouths and nose, but in general, this is the head that I do. Here are examples of drawings that I made as a way to practice the application of the guidelines in different ways and directions, which will define the movement of the image. Some are famous and you will recognize them, but others probably you won't. Now I decided to practice with 3 smaller and faster examples in a more free and relaxed way. The purpose of these examples is to demonstrate that in a daily sketching process, it is always important to practice with everyday situations so that your trace is no longer so rigid and that you step out of the comfort zone, leaving your hand softer and more precise. Here are some tips for when to start drawing and practice your drawing with references. Be aware that me teaching my simple way of drawing faces does not mean that it is a universal rule, but it's only how I apply those rules of proportion to my style. Make a lot of sketching with no pressure. Be willing to learn and reduce some steps. Be honest with your style, but be willing to learn a safe base to place them. The guidelines are important, but they are very relative according to the face you are drawing. Use a reference photo, but don't expect your drawing to be completely similar to the image. It will not be, because the art is the emphasis that the artist's eye have on things, in this case, people. Always be prepared to redo some mistakes and return some steps. It is part of the process to make mistakes and get frustrated. The important thing is to move on. And if you liked the video, these tips, don't forget to leave the like, subscribe, and activate the bell for more videos. Thank you and see you next time.